Hey everybody, it's taking us a little bit. We're still getting used to these video newsletters, but we're doing our second one here, and we just kind of wanted to talk about the summer that we've been having and how it's been pretty rough. So in the next segment, we're going to go into a little bit about that, mainly on fescue lawns, and we'll touch a little bit on Bermudas later in the newsletter. Okay, so we brought up conditions. Many of you, we've talked to you about this when you sign up, or maybe you've had questions about your yard over the years. And I wanted to go over some of those conditions. We've had that pretty rough summer that I mentioned earlier. And if you look right here, this grass looks pretty good because this strip gets what we would call pretty ideal conditions. It gets a little bit of that morning sun for a few hours up until about noon or 1, and then the shade kind of comes in and takes over after 1 o'clock, alleviating a lot of that heat from the day. So it kind of keeps this strip looking pretty good. We're also on a hill here, so it gets a little bit more runoff water from when we do get rains, which helps that out a little. Now this patch here didn't get like any care essentially throughout the whole season. It's kind of one of our test beds in my lawn, and just to kind of goes to show you how well conditions can play out to make a portion of the yard look. Now across the driveway, we're going to show you here, things are kind of a little bit different. Out here we get full sun. This was getting some water in the springtime. It got fertilizer, it got some weed control in the spring, but after we got to those 90-degree days, kind of towards the beginning of the summer, I kind of stopped. I knew this wasn't going to perform very well because I also did a reno on this portion last year, which means a lot of this grass was brand new, so the roots weren't established enough to make it through. But we just kind of wanted to show, like, hey, there is grass remaining here, but a lot of it couldn't keep up with those summer heats because this is getting direct sun all day long, and it just couldn't keep enough water on it. So I said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and kind of reno it again this year and see what next year brings. But as you can just see, the conditions from that to here, only across the driveway, were very big, and your results are going to vary a little bit depending on the conditions in your own yard. Okay, so we've moved across the driveway. We were right over here, but this is kind of the worst patch in the front yard here, and I wanted to kind of go over it and let you know why it's performing like this. So this driveway, on the side of this driveway, there's a lot of debris. Maybe you'll be able to show them over here. So as you can see, I have a lot of rocks. I've dug out a lot of rocks and a lot of clay and hard pan. Even across the driveway, you'll see all the rocks that I've torn out of this yard right here. And then I even have a drain spout that comes out here, and all this grass gets really hot because of those rocks and debris. So if you have areas like this in your yard and they're kind of faded out, now would be a great time to maybe grab a rake, remove some of that top debris, and just kind of see if there's any rocks or any hard pan that you can break up to kind of give those grass roots a little bit of relief when that summer heat does come. Because if they're not able to penetrate deep down into the soil, this is what can happen, is those roots stay on the surface and then it dries out a lot faster. The good thing is we're right around the corner from aeration and seeding. We usually start in September, so a lot of this is going to get repaired, and by the end of September, October, my yard's going to be looking great, green, and lush again. All right, so we touched on conditions with fescue for this summer. Now we want to get into Bermuda for just a little bit. Hasn't been the best year for Bermuda so far. We started out with a kind of late green up because we actually had a spring this year. Temperatures were a little bit lower going into the beginning of summer, and then we went straight into that dry spell. So we didn't have a lot of growth. The green up wasn't as fast as it normally is in our area. But now that we've finally gotten some rains and some good temperatures, we're seeing a lot of growth. But the only negative with that is we're starting to see a little fungus in Bermuda, which we normally don't see in our area that much. So if you are seeing a couple little patches in your lawn, keep up your regular efforts of mowing and watering. These patches usually form pretty quick, but they can also grow back fairly quick as well. So if you keep up those practices along with our fertilization, if you do have any areas that were affected, they should recover before the end of the summer. All right, and the last thing we wanted to talk about, it's right around the corner, is aeration and seeding for fescue lawns. This is for fescue lawns only. So we normally like to start in September. We're gonna watch conditions, make sure temperatures aren't too hot and everything's good to go. But the way we'll do it is you'll get a week before notification, and then you'll also still get your day before notification the week of your aeration and seeding. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put those aeration and seeding instructions below in this newsletter. They're not gonna be in the video, they're actually gonna be in the body of it. And remember, we're a pretty small team here at Carolina Turf. We're local, there's only 3 of us, so our spots are filling up fast. If you are already on our schedule for aeration and seeding, please make sure you sign up, because every year we fill up and it gets hard to take on more and more. All right, guys, that's going to about do it for us for our second video newsletter here. We still don't have quite a normal cadence. We're going to get better at it as we go along. But we just wanted to say, thank you for using our services throughout this rough summer. We're really excited about aerations and seeding is around the corner to make everything look great in the fall. And we'll see you guys next time.